But I grew up in Pittsburgh, just outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, not too far from the West Virginia border, and moved around a bit. And just about a year ago, a little over a year ago, I moved to Asheville. Didn't have any connections here. Just had visited a few times and really fell in love with the mountains and stuff, and decided I wanted to move. So I did. So yeah, I've been here just over a year. I came to I moved on June 1st of 2019, and on June 2nd, I came to the Asheville church. Just did a Google search of non-denominational Christian churches in Asheville, and it was the first one that popped up.
And so, what did you think after the first time you came?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little overwhelming, right? Everybody was coming up to me, and they were like, "Hey, like, we want to get you involved. Can I have your number?" And I think at any other point in my life, I would have been like, "All right, these people are too weird. I can't come back to this church." But like I said, I didn't know anybody here, and so it was kind of welcoming to me, and I was like, "Oh, great! I just instantly met 30 new friends."
That's awesome. So if this is like one of your first times coming to the Asheville church, you're lucky because you won't be weirded out like Joel was, because we can't come up and give you a hug and be like, "Hey, can we have your number?" But we might be like randomly, like personal DM, dive bombing, chatting you in the middle of the Zoom call, like, "Hey, can I get your number? Let's hook up and, get together and get to know each other." So that was a little overwhelming for you, Joel, at first, for sure, right? And
Yeah.
feeling very similar when I walked into a church very similar to this for the first time in Florida. And so tell me a little bit about, going from that first interaction, with a bunch of people kind of like really aggressively wanting to get to know you and get your number and social security number and credit card number. No, I'm just kidding. But people are really wanting to connect with you, right? Going from there to the place where you were wanting to say Jesus is Lord and be baptized in his name and to live under his lordship and reign. Walk me through that process. Tell me a little bit about that. What are some things that took you from just coming and visiting a church, which tons of people do all the time, to really becoming a disciple of Jesus?
Yeah, great question. So very soon after I came to church, we started studying the Bible. We met for the first time at James's house. And, I was very prideful. I thought I was a Christian and knew a lot about the Bible. And as we started reading it, I very quickly understood that there was a lot I did not understand. And the way it was presented to me was something unique that I never, or maybe I've read certain things in the Bible, but it just meant something different to me in the way that it was presented to me this time. And I realized that I was living such a selfish life, and just kind of caught up and trapped in my sins. And I just I thought I had a relationship with Jesus, but he definitely wasn't the most important thing in my life. And like I said, I was very prideful. I think I was the most important thing in my life. And I'm still learning to deal with that every day. But
well, what changed?
Yeah.
What changed to help you go from you being the most important thing in your life, your wants, your desires, your pleasures, your dreams, hopes, aspirations, from you being Lord of your life, most important in your life, to Jesus being most important in your life? What was some of the main things that resonated with you during that time to take you from one place to another? What was it that drew you into wanting Jesus to be most important in your life more than yourself?
Oh, good question. I would say mostly just the shame, the guilt, and the regret that I would have for my sins. And I was just continually trapped in this pattern of just feeling so shameful about things that I would do. And and, part of coming to this church, I saw like real believers that had complete joy, and freedom from sins. And they clearly had the Spirit of God. And I think that was, I was definitely at a point in my life too, where I was, I came out of a bad relationship, and I was just ready for a change, and ready to give Jesus my whole heart, really.
So since that time, right? Since really coming to understand yourself and the nature of the gospel, maybe more clearly, to really making Jesus most important in your life, over this past year, what would you say has been some of the most incredible, joy-filled, amazing things about making Jesus number one in your life? And maybe what's been some of the more challenging things?
Yeah, I guess just, spending time with him and having a close personal relationship, by reading my Bible every day, and not only just reading it, but like really taking the time to understand what God is trying to teach me every time I open it up. And that's something that I never really consistently did before. And now I've come to such a good appreciation for, if I don't do that, things really start to go off track in my life. So it's prayer time. We are my iron group prays every morning at 7:30, and prayer, being in the Word, it's been awesome to really bring me closer to God. And now we have this homeless outreach that we've been doing. And I guess another thing that's been great is I've realized that the more I help other people, the less I am focused on myself, and the less I'm caught up in my sins. And so I'm really trying to be more intentional about helping others, and volunteering more, and just giving more of my time and my resources to helping those less fortunate than me, because I've been God has blessed me beyond comprehension. I would have never imagined that I'd be where I am in life. And it's been really great what God's been doing. The challenging things, I guess, for a while after I got baptized, I was kind of on a high, and wasn't really, I was just, filled with the Spirit, so like on fire for just wanting to learn more and go deeper in my relationship with God. And I wasn't sinning. Now I've been a disciple now for over a year, and the 6 months of that have been in COVID. And I've realized that, when you're not around the body as much, and we're not meeting continually, it's easy to kind of have some of those old sins creep back into your life. And I'm just, trying to be earnest and repent, and really just get back to a place where I'm with God. I thought that becoming a Christian would just, or when I got baptized, it would just, stop all my sinning. But guys, I still sin.
Wait, that didn't happen? What are you talking about? Oh man, bro, I'm so sorry that your bubble got bursted. My bad. I didn't do a good job preparing you, apparently.
But still learning more every day. And it's challenging, but making Jesus Lord has been by far the best thing I've ever done.
Absolutely. And that's a great segue, because obviously, as we talk about this faith interview and talk about a little bit, just skim the surface of your journey and your faith, and we get ready to prepare ourselves to take the Lord's Supper together as a community, I want to go ahead and invite you to, for the church to go ahead and get your communion ready. We'll take the Lord's Supper together in just a minute. But obviously the Lord's Supper is something that we do as a family of believers that Jesus talked about, to take the bread and the blood and the juice to to resemble his body and his blood and to remember him. And Joel, as you're talking, it's quite common, that we become Christians, we become disciples, we submit ourselves to the Lordship of Jesus in great zeal and earnest. And sometimes we maybe think that the struggles of life and even our own sinful nature and flesh and temptations are just going to sort of disappear and go away. And then obviously reality slaps us in the face that that's not the case, that we are still called by Jesus to carry our cross every day, that doesn't go away because we decide to do it one day for the rest of the days, but that it's a daily, moment by moment, following of discipleship and choosing, his way over our own. And of course, we fall woefully short of that, and we can't do that perfectly. And that is the point of the gospel, right? That's the point of Jesus' sacrifice for us. That's what we remember. When we take the communion, we remember that his body and his blood are the only ones that could do what we can't do before we were Christians and after we were Christians. And so I hope that all of us, as we remember Jesus, remember him with great gratitude, that motivates us to love and to repent and to grow and change, not because we're earning anything, but because we're so grateful that we've been freely given that which we could never earn.